Let me tell you this story. I think you'll see yourself in it, and maybe it will help you unravel your tangled relationship. The love story between Alex and Sophia wasn't just an ordinary romance. It was also a reflection of what often happens in modern relationships. Alex was always the initiator. He texted, planned romantic dates, did everything to get Sophia's attention. But in response, Sophia was often indifferent, cold, and kept her distance. She never really reciprocated Alex's efforts, as if his presence was a given. This story reminds us of one important thing. Sometimes in love, one-sided effort is not enough to build a lasting relationship. Then one day, Alex decided to change. He stopped all efforts, no texting, no planning, and completely withdrew from Sophia's life. Initially, Sophia didn't even notice this, as she was so used to Alex always being there, always ready for her. But after a while, Alex's silence started to make her uneasy. Sophia felt empty, checked her phone frequently, and reread old messages that Alex had sent. This created confusion in Sophia's mind. Why wasn't he contacting her anymore? She even composed a few messages to send to Alex, but then deleted them because, in her mind, she still thought she had the upper hand in the relationship. The story of Alex and Sophia shows that silence doesn't always bring the results we want, but the issue is how we handle and use that silent time. If you simply remain silent and wait for the other person to change, you will only remain in the position of a person waiting. The important thing is what you do with that time. This is the time when you should focus on yourself, develop new skills, pursue your passions, and become the best version of yourself. Imagine if you disappeared from someone's life, and then one day you came back. What would they see? Would they see someone still stuck in the same place? Or someone who has transformed, become more confident, more attractive, and more independent? When you use this time to change yourself, you not only change the dynamics of the relationship, but also change how others perceive you. This makes the other person regret not having you in their life anymore, and they will be attracted to you, not because you tried to hold on to them, but because you have truly changed. Remember, the key to reverse psychology is not to manipulate others, but to make yourself a better person. When you stop trying to grab attention from the other person and instead focus on self-development, your attraction will automatically shine through. Confidence, independence, and self-love are what make you attractive and irresistible. Close your eyes and tell yourself, "My attractiveness makes others admire." That's not an arrogant statement, it's an affirmation of your worth. Do you want to discover more about the power of silence? About how to apply reverse psychology to attract the one you love? Subscribe to the channel now to look forward to my next video. Let's dive into the steps to effectively apply the power of silence. Step 1. Become the mystery they can't ignore. Do you know what makes a painting priceless? It's not just the exquisite technique or the vibrant colors, but also the story hidden behind it. The mysteries that viewers yearn to uncover. Humans are the same. Attraction doesn't just come from outward appearance, but also from the depths of the soul, from things yet to be revealed. In love, mystery is a powerful catalyst that awakens the desire to conquer in the other person. When you are always present and easily grasped, you inadvertently lose your appeal. In Stoicism, there is an important principle. Focus on what is within your control and let go of what is beyond your reach. When it comes to relationships, you are the only thing you can completely control. To become the mystery they can't ignore, you need to start by proactively creating a change in how you present yourself in the lives of others. Don't forget that your value lies not in being easily available, but in choosing when and how to appear. We often tend to want to always be present to show that we care for and love the other person. But this sometimes diminishes your value in their eyes. Humans are creatures who love challenges and are attracted to new and elusive things. When you are always there, easily accessible, and ready to be there at any time, your presence gradually becomes familiar, predictable, and less interesting. The mystery is removed, and with it, curiosity and attraction. The mystery you want to create is not about pretense or manipulation, but a conscious choice to keep a part of yourself, a part that others cannot easily access. Remember, the important thing is that you are not deliberately alienating or deceiving anyone's emotions. Instead, you are creating a space for the other person to have the time and reason to discover and appreciate your presence on their own. When you temporarily withdraw and are not constantly present, this will force the other person to wonder, why isn't he/she there anymore? This question is the beginning of a change in how they perceive you. In Stoicism, accepting letting go is a big lesson, and in love, it is also an important factor. You let go of expectations that the other person must reciprocate your feelings immediately. You let go of the fear that if you are not present, they will forget you. This way, you make time for yourself, focus on personal values, and grow to become a better person. When you increase your self-worth, you automatically become more attractive, not because you are trying to prove anything, but because you are truly valuable. The mystery you create is a space for the other person to explore, to feel your absence, and to realize your importance. Sometimes, distance is the necessary factor for others to understand that you truly matter. Silence, a subtle disappearance, is not a tactic to make someone chase you, but a test of the value of the relationship. If the other person truly cares for and appreciates you, your absence will create a void they want to fill. If not, then it's also a sign for you to realize that this is not the right relationship for you. Becoming a mystery is a way for you to regain control of your own emotions. Instead of depending on attention from others, you choose how you appear. You don't need to explain or try to please the other person. You just need to be yourself, independent, confident, and not bound by anyone's expectations. This not only makes you stronger, but also makes you different and hard to ignore. Ultimately, mystery is about self-respect. It's about understanding that you don't have to always be present to be loved. Appearing at the right time, with your own confidence and values, is what truly makes you special. Remember, a strong and attractive person is someone who knows how to keep a part of themselves, not easily understood by others. Be someone the other person has to spend time getting to know, has to wonder and think about. And from there, you will become someone they can't ignore. Not because you tried to force them to notice, but because they themselves chose to do so. Step 2. Silent attraction. Have you heard the story of the wild orchid? Unlike other flowers that flaunt their vibrant colors in the garden, the wild orchid chooses to hide in the morning mist, quietly exuding its fragrance. It is this humility and subtlety that makes the wild orchid noble, attracting like-minded souls. In love, true attraction doesn't come from ostentation and noise, but from inner strength, from confidence that emanates naturally without forcing. Like the underground stream flowing silently, its strength lies in perseverance and persistence, not in the surging waves that easily disappear. According to Stoicism, you don't need to try to show your changes outwardly, but let others feel the difference themselves. The philosophy of Stoicism encourages us not to be too dependent on recognition from others. Instead, you need to focus on becoming more confident, strong, and determined from within, so that this maturity naturally radiates without the need to use words to affirm it. The Stoic believes that true value lies not in flowery words, but in actions, in how you face challenges, and in how you train yourself day by day. Silent attraction is the result of a process of continuous self-improvement, in which you put yourself into new challenges, learn new skills, and achieve things you never thought possible. It is this confidence, built from genuine and unpretentious effort, that will make you attractive and respectable. Imagine yourself as a solid mountain, unchanging in the face of all the changes around you. You don't have to shout to assert your greatness. Your very presence is a testament to your steadfastness and admiration. When you focus on yourself, on inner development, those around you will begin to feel the change in you. You are no longer the person who always tries to prove themselves, but you become someone worth getting to know and exploring. The calmness and confidence emanating from you is what makes them pay attention. When you take the time to focus on self-development, you will notice that your worth does not depend on how others perceive you. You train to become strong, not to prove to others, but because it is what you want for yourself. You develop new skills, from learning a new language, taking a course, to building healthy habits. Each small step contributes to building a better version of yourself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your confidence is the same. It does not depend on whether others pay attention to you or not. When you know who you are and who you are becoming, you will no longer worry about having to attract others. It is this calmness and confidence that will make you truly attractive. Let others feel your change through the way you live, through what you achieve, and through your calm attitude in the face of all changes. That is the silent attraction, the result of constantly developing and improving yourself without having to try to prove anything to anyone. And then your attraction is not the result of trying to show off, but the result of a journey of training, loving, and respecting yourself. It is this change that will make others unable to ignore you. Step 3. Create the puzzling reaction. Have you ever watched a bird soaring in the sky? It doesn't fly straight to its destination, but flits and weaves, appearing and disappearing among the clouds. It is this freedom and unrestrained movement that makes the image of the bird even more captivating, making it impossible for us to take our eyes off it. When the other person starts to contact you again, after a period of silence, don't rush to respond as before. This is not an act of retaliation, but an expression of self-retrieve and calmness. Keep your replies concise, but not cold. Maintain a certain distance so that the other person realizes that you are no longer dependent on their attention. The puzzling reaction here is not intended to manipulate or make the other person feel uncomfortable, but is a way for you to protect your emotions and at the same time give the other person a clear signal that you have changed. This makes them ask themselves, why has he/she changed? When we no longer react as before, we force others to reevaluate their behavior, to think more about what they once took for granted. By keeping your responses concise and not revealing too much emotion, you create a space for the other person to reflect. They will start to wonder and think about what is going on in your life, about why you are no longer the same. This change not only makes them attracted to the mystery you create, but also helps them understand that you are no longer emotionally dependent on them. In psychology, it is often said that we crave what we cannot easily have. When you create a puzzling reaction, you are no longer the one who is always available, always there when they need you. You have become a mystery, someone they have to figure out, someone they have to work to reconnect with. This creates excitement in their mind, making you more attractive in their eyes. More importantly, the puzzling reaction helps you regain power in the relationship. You no longer react the way the other person wants you to. You are no longer the one who always meets every request. Instead, you control how you respond, and this makes them adjust their behavior towards you. This is the self-restraint that Stoicism always emphasizes. You do not let others dictate your emotional state, and you do not let them easily influence your behavior. Step 4. The psychological mirror. Do you know why the calm surface of a lake can reflect the image of the sky so clearly? Because it is not rippled, not disturbed by external influences. In love, too, when you keep your mind still, not swept away by the other person's emotions, you will be able to reflect their energy accurately and subtly. The psychological mirror is an art that requires observation, understanding, and control of your own emotions. It is not indifference or coldness, but a way to protect your heart and help the other person realize your value. The first thing we need to understand here is the relationship between human nature and our reactions to others. In relationships, people often tend to want to control and dominate each other. This creates a cycle of chasing and abandoning, where one side often puts in too much effort, while the other remains indifferent and cold. This is a situation that can easily hurt our self-esteem, and maintaining composure becomes a significant challenge. Stoicism teaches that we should only focus on what is within our control, and this includes how we react to energy from others. So, what is the psychological mirror? It is how you reflect the other person's level of interest in a balanced and autonomous way. If they are indifferent, you also remain indifferent. If they get closer, you respond appropriately, no more, no less. This action helps you maintain self-retrieval and avoid falling into the trap of desperation when trying to hold on to affection from the other person. This is an important step to ensure that you do not lose your self-worth just because of someone else's change in attitude. What happens when you mirror the other person's attitude? First, you start to convey the message that you are not easily emotionally manipulated. The other person may be used to you always taking the initiative, always caring, and always being there for them. But when you start to reflect the energy they give you, they will realize that your favor is not something they can take lightly or take for granted. Indifference from you makes them feel a sense of loss, and from there they may begin to appreciate you more. In psychology, this mirroring behavior creates balance in the relationship and helps you avoid the role of the hopeless chaser. When you keep putting in effort without receiving a commensurate response, you can easily fall into a state of emotional imbalance. But when you adjust your behavior, responding only when the other person shows effort, you maintain your position. You are not passive, but proactive in how you express your feelings. This forces the other person to confront their feelings for you and sometimes realize that they are losing something precious. This balance is like sowing seeds and waiting. If the other person does not want to invest in the relationship, you do not need to pour all your energy and affection into it blindly. Instead, you should use that energy to develop yourself, to become the best version of yourself. This not only helps you avoid unnecessary hurt, but also brings you freedom. Freedom from dependence, from the fear of abandonment, and freedom to live your own life without being controlled by others. Stoicism teaches us that true peace comes from within. When you no longer depend on the behavior of others to determine your self-worth, you become strong and independent. The psychological mirror is the tool for you to test that independence. Don't forget that responding in an equivalent way is not to punish the other person, but to protect your self-worth and maintain balance. Remember that your value does not depend on whether others care or not, but on how you value yourself. With each step back the other person takes, you also need to know how to step back. This does not mean that you give up, but simply that you choose not to trade your peace for things that are not within your control. Do not let the indifference of others take away your joy and self-worth. Maintain the spirit of the Stoic. Live peacefully, not swayed by the changes of others, and know your limits. When you reflect the energy from the other person thoughtfully and carefully, you are protecting yourself and at the same time making the other person realize that this relationship requires effort from both sides. Regret will only appear when they realize that what you once brought is no longer there. But most importantly, the psychological mirror helps you live with a confident and peaceful mindset, knowing that you deserve good things and will never need to beg for affection from anyone. Remember, true love is nurtured from both sides. When you know how to love and value yourself, you will attract someone worthy of your affection. Step 5. Personal achievement. Embarking on the journey of self-development, we need to understand that personal achievement is not about bragging or proving something to others, but about affirming our own worth. Stoic philosophy teaches us that happiness does not come from gaining approval from others, but from the ability to control our thoughts, emotions, and actions. When we pursue personal achievement, we are not only seeking external success, but also seeking inner peace and freedom. Investing in your career is an important part of this journey. It doesn't mean we have to become rich or famous, but that we focus on making our work more meaningful and valuable. When you dedicate yourself and find joy in your work, you will feel a sense of pride and confidence that comes from effort and dedication. This not only improves your life, but also helps you shine in the eyes of those around you. Health is another factor that we need to focus on. Marcus Aurelius, one of the famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "Take care of your body as if it were going to last forever." When you spend time exercising, eating healthy, and keeping your mind at peace, you are showing respect and love for yourself. A healthy body not only helps you live longer, but also helps you face life's challenges with strength and resilience. In addition, we need to invest in relationships other than romantic ones. Sometimes, when we focus too much on one person, we easily forget the people around us, family, friends, and those who always love and support us. Take the time to build and nurture these relationships, as this is the source of motivation that helps us grow and become better. These people will always be there for you, unconditionally, and they are an important part of the personal development journey. Your independence and success are the clearest proof that you don't need to rely on anyone to have a good life. You live for yourself, for the values you believe in, and this will make you naturally attractive. The other person will see in you someone who no longer depends on their love for happiness, but a confident, strong person who knows their worth. It is when you no longer consider the other person the center of your life that you begin to shine. You become hard to ignore, not because you try to be special in their eyes, but because your positive change has created a natural attraction. This attraction comes from within you, from the confidence, independence, and self-love that you have built day by day. And when you achieve those things, you not only attract the attention of others, but also become an inspiration to yourself and those around you. Focus on personal success, not to prove to others, but for your own development. Invest in your career, health, and other relationships. When you are successful and happy without the other person, it will make you attractive and hard to ignore. Your independence and success are proof that you do not need to rely on anyone to have a good life. Remember, you hold the key to your own life. Confidently walk the path you have chosen and carve your name on the pinnacle of success. Step 6. Create the untouchable aura. In the modern world, where people can easily connect with each other with just a click, the value of scarcity becomes stronger than ever. This is clearly reflected in romantic relationships. You don't need to be everywhere all the time for others to see your worth. Instead, build an untouchable aura, a mysterious space that the other person has to strive to explore and yearn for. This is not a mind game, but an expression of self-worth and self-respect. A profound philosophy of Stoicism. Stoicism teaches us that what matters is not what others think of us, but how we perceive ourselves and control ourselves. The untouchable aura is about learning to manage yourself, not allowing yourself to easily become dependent on validation from others. Marcus Aurelius, one of the famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. To build an aura that is difficult to approach, you must learn to become independent, to focus on your inner self instead of always seeking attention and recognition from others. Your presence is not something others can easily obtain. Learn to create distance, not because you want to be aloof, but because you want the other person to have the opportunity to truly understand and appreciate your value. When we are always present, always available, we easily become something familiar, boring, and predictable. Scarcity here does not mean that you have to become mysterious, cold, or isolated, but that you know how to make time for yourself, not hesitating to set healthy boundaries in the relationship. Creating distance means that you will spend time on personal development to become the best version of yourself. When you put yourself first, not just in romantic relationships, but in all aspects of life, you will exude a natural attraction. This makes the other person realize that your presence is something truly special and worthy of appreciation. Becoming less accessible does not mean that you have to ignore or intentionally hurt others. It's simply about restraint. You don't easily meet every request. You don't rush to respond immediately. You give others space and time to feel your absence. This helps the other person realize your importance in their lives. According to Stoicism, self-retreat and the ability to manage emotions are important factors in maintaining a happy and free life. You should not let your presence become something that others can easily expect or demand. Respect your time and space, and at the same time give others the opportunity to realize your value. The way you maintain distance and make yourself less accessible is a way to create intrinsic value, a presence with depth and attraction. When you become less present, your presence becomes more valuable. This also means that you need to ensure that when you do appear, you bring positive values, special emotions, and experiences to the other person. Stoicism teaches that we should enjoy each present moment, focusing on quality over quantity. Bring the other person strong emotions, memorable experiences, so they understand that every time you appear is a special occasion they cannot miss. When you build this appreciation, you will no longer need to try to hold others back. People will naturally want to be near you because you are not only someone who brings peace, but also a source of inspiration and motivation for them. That is the power of the untouchable aura, the preciousness and uniqueness that others must recognize and grasp for themselves. To truly create an untouchable aura, you need to understand your own worth. You do not need the validation of others to affirm your value. Instead of chasing attention from the outside, seek validation from within. Stoicism reminds us that happiness and freedom come from the ability to control ourselves and master our thoughts and emotions. When you no longer depend on whether others pay attention to you or not, you will truly become free, and that is when you exude an irresistible of attraction. Remember, the untouchable aura is not about deliberately isolating yourself, but about understanding your self-worth and not allowing others to easily take it away. You deserve respect, and when you place yourself in a position of scarcity, you will attract more lasting and sincere relationships, where the other person will know that your presence is something to be cherished and worked for. Step 7. Building the final emotional barrier. When we talk about building an emotional barrier, especially from a Stoic perspective, it doesn't mean you become cold or unfeeling. Instead, we're talking about setting firm boundaries to protect your self-worth from negative emotions or hurtful words. An emotional barrier is a clear manifestation of self-respect and a firm decision not to allow others to easily influence your mind and spirit. Stoicism teaches us that life doesn't always go the way we want it to, and especially that the actions of others are not within our control. However, what we can control is our own reaction to those situations. When you build an emotional barrier, you no longer easily react to the emotions of others. You are no longer led by hurtful words, coldness, or indifference from the other person. You maintain calmness, steadfastness, and mental freedom. It is important to understand that your vulnerability is not a reason for others to have the right to hurt you. When you are no longer easily sharing every emotion, you are sending a message that you have regained control of your emotions. You decide who deserves to share your deepest thoughts, and this means you have built barriers to protect yourself from unnecessary hurt. Self-respect is the core principle of this step. When you set emotional boundaries, you are declaring, "I am valuable enough not to have to endure unfair things." That respect not only makes others realize your worth, but also helps you see yourself more clearly. You know that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone, and you no longer have to leave your happiness in the hands of others. That's how you get rid of emotional dependence and build inner strength. But building the final emotional barrier is not about revenge or making the other person feel guilty. It's not a way to become distant or manipulate someone else's emotions. In fact, it's a way for you to learn to love yourself properly. You are allowing yourself time to recover, to grow, and to become a stronger and more independent person. When you build these barriers, you are choosing not to get caught up in negative emotions and not to let the words or actions of others control your life. Look at the story of Alex and Sophia. When Alex stopped, he didn't just leave Sophia. He created a space for himself to recover and grow. He built an emotional barrier for himself, no longer chasing superficial emotions and coldness from Sophia. His silence was not a retreat, but a time to invest in himself, to become a stronger version. It was a clear message that he no longer allowed himself to be hurt and that he deserved to be treated better. In Stoicism, building an emotional barrier can be compared to creating a mental fortress, a protective space for your mind from outside invasions. This does not mean that you have to cut off all connection with your emotions, but that you choose to control them, choose what is worth feeling, and eliminate negativity. Once you have built this fortress, you will no longer be easily hurt by others. It helps you maintain balance, calmness, and most importantly, mental freedom. Remember, emotional barriers are not meant to make you insensitive, but to help you know when to hold on and when to let go. When you are strong enough to build these barriers, you will no longer be easily hurt by the words or actions of others. You become the master of your own life, and that is what makes you attractive, strong, and hard to ignore. It is the path of self-development, of loving and cherishing yourself, and that is the true key to building a lasting and happy relationship.